I do think that the restaurants are one of the industries that I think all of them are ripe for disruption and adoption, but in terms of the impact that it can make, I think there's a ton of opportunity at restaurants relative to other verticals.
AI is everywhere. Software companies bombard you with promises that their AI-powered programs will revolutionize your business. Prognosticators say it will take over roughly everything, and Wall Street, as always, is watching. Restaurants are certainly no exception. Companies are testing and experimenting with AI in nearly every part of their operation, from the drive-thru to the back of the house, from marketing to the kitchen. Hello, I'm Jonathan Mays, Editor-in-Chief of Restaurant Business, and welcome to a special in-depth series on AI in restaurants on the A Deeper Dive podcast. Over the next 6 episodes, we will explore the impact AI could have on the restaurant industry over the next several years. Myself and my restaurant business colleagues, Joe Guskowski and Pat Kobe, interviewed numerous industry executives, technology experts, and chefs to find out exactly how AI is impacting restaurants, from independents to large chains, and whether this all actually works. Before we begin, let's ask AI to define itself. In this case, ChatGPT gave me the following answer as it relates to restaurants. Artificial intelligence, or AI, refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think, learn, and make decisions. In the context of restaurants, AI encompasses technologies that streamline operations, enhance customer experiences, and optimize business processes. This includes tools like predictive analytics for inventory management, chatbots for customer service, personalized menu recommendations, and even robotics for food preparation and delivery. By leveraging AI, restaurants can improve efficiency, reduce costs, and deliver tailored experiences that meet the evolving expectations of diners. But let's dive a little deeper. We begin this series with a conversation between Joe Guskowski and Craig Miller, a former executive with Sonic who has written a book, Bricks and Clicks, about how he and former Sonic CEO Cliff Hudson turned that chain into a more digitally driven concept.
So AI has really been on your radar for quite a while. If you could characterize how has it changed, in the time that you've been interested in it and studying it?
Sure. Well, let me start with fundamentally how it hasn't changed, and then I can kind of share how it's evolved. In the very simplest of terms, you can think of AI as really data processing methodology, data analysis and processing methodology that uses an adaptive algorithm. Period. It's been that way since its inception. What has evolved is everything around it. The computing power has evolved. The internet has really unlocked the capability of integrating and accessing and processing oceans of data. That's in the simplest of terms. So what was kind of behind the scenes, and at one point the business, really wasn't part of the business strategy, but I would say even 20 years ago, it kind of been characterized with different names: expert systems, business intelligence. All of those kind of terms was ways of describing what was really AI-driven type technology. The unique and kind of uncommon method of it was data analysis and processing. There's one realm of it which is looking at causal data and pulling together data. And AI, the adaptive algorithm, is really built on predictive. It's a predictive algorithm. And because it's adaptive, it isn't always as accurate, but the more it processes and the more data, it has what has been referred to as learning capability. It gets more accurate, hence the learning capability. And so that's fundamentally what it's been, for more than 50, 60 years. It's just that everything around it, the computing power, the oceans of data, the integrated nature and connected nature of business, our society, that has all, kind of, that's what's evolved around that framework. Now, data takes different forms, but it's also content, it's audio, it's visual. So what we've seen in the last 3, 4, 5 years, which really took off, what everyone refers to as Gen AI, generative AI, is really the predictive nature and the creation of content and interactive content. And that's what's really, is kind of brought into the forefront. And now everyone is kind of throwing AI onto their business strategies, their businesses, everything. So it's kind of taken a commercial, a pretty rapid commercial shift.
Yeah. And what, if you could describe, what was the innovation that took place, a few years ago with ChatGPT that has sort of caused this step change that we've seen over the past few years?
Yeah, the OpenAI and a number of companies, they were the leaders, still kind of remain the leaders. They had been working on, again, a model, an adaptive model that really took a very esoteric concept, kind of behind the scenes concept, and put it in the hands of the consumer. So when they released it, I think it was in maybe 21 or 22. Now all of a sudden, the general consumer had access to this capability that they never had before. Now they've lived around it. It's been around us. If you've ever taken a flight, autopilot, it manages most of the flight except for takeoff and landing for the most part. You have pilots that sit there. The autocorrect and our word processor, the Alexa, all of that has been around us for quite a while, but it's been more utility for us, or in a sense service. It hasn't put it really it wasn't commercialized to the extent, and that was the event, I think, that drew awareness and put it in the hands of the consumer, directly in the hands of the consumer. I'd say that was the trigger.
Restaurants have been using AI in all kinds of manners. Starbucks, for instance, is testing an AI-powered virtual assistant in its coffee shops, which can help baristas make drinks. The company is also rolling out an AI-powered program that counts inventory. That one promises to save managers considerable time while improving overall inventory control. The pizza chain Papa John's uses AI in a variety of fashions. Here's CEO Todd Penegor talking about how the company is exploring the technology. Where do you see AI having the biggest influence on your business?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of spots. Near in, it's really how do we leverage AI to really compartmentalize, utilize all the great data that we have. I mean, we've had pristine data for over 30 years, right? Name, address, telephone numbers. How do you mine the data? How do you personalize it? How do I make sure that there's an experience that fits for you, but also fits for me? And those are completely different experiences, probably in all likelihood. That's where it starts, and that's what we're doing out of the gate. There's still a lot of opportunities as we think about where future restaurants should be placed. How do we use AI to really geolocate and really make sure we've got great locations where Papa John's can compete and be successful over time? But there's a lot into the future. You start to look at, how we actually think about delivering great experiences, and how do you create a next generation experience around order tracking? How do you have a visual AI cue that you graded out your pizza in a hurry? We do that manually today. And, we've always talked about, you got to have an 8+ pizza going out the door. Well, I can have camera technology tell me, was it truly an 8 graded plus pizza before it goes out the door? You think about what we do. We have a restaurant operational improvement program that we're out there day in and day out doing that very physically. And, you can use camera technology to actually grade out how that restaurant's performing. You can take a lot of the medial, it's challenging tasks around inventory taking, which, after a long day of making pizzas and, counting inventory manual, but now moving to camera technology to quickly take and leverage AI to do inventory at the end of the day. Those are all powerful tools that take away the time from our staff on non-consumer facing and away from the line activities, and we can get them back onto the line and get them really focused on making great pizzas and being focused on that, but then having the tools to make sure that, we can help them become even better at the craft by coaching more often.
So you're using camera technology. Are you using that in company locations, or are franchisees starting to use it?
Just starting to test it, Jonathan. We've done a few things in the past on some of the camera technologies, and there's been various things in, not just this brand, but other brands. But with our partnership with Google, we're leaning in company locations to test and learn, how can we really leverage camera and AI technology to better support our teams, to better train our teams, and then importantly, to really make sure that we can deliver on a great customer experience. And then the question becomes, once we have that all internally driven, can we actually create a differentiated delivery tracking experience with those elements to make sure you had a great pizza going out the door and it's getting tracked, and we can manage the temperature from the time it leaves the restaurant to the time it shows up at your house at a temperature that, feels right for delivering great tasting pizza, because temperature is number one that you need to have delivered beyond having it right. Those are things we're behind on delivery tracking today. Only 60% of our restaurants, believe it or not, track your delivery from the time it leaves the restaurant to the time it gets there. We'll be 100% by the first quarter of 2026. But we can think about how we really recreate what is the next generation of tracking that is super relevant to the consumer, that makes feel like you got a really personalized experience from the time the pizza's getting built to the time it's actually getting put in the box to the time it gets into the delivery car to the temperature that it's at when it gets delivered to your residence. Those are things we're working on right now, and we're testing and learning those things in real time in company restaurants today.
Speaking of cameras, the chicken chain Zaxbys uses AI technology and cameras to improve operations through its drive-thrus. AI is used frequently in fast food drive-thrus, a subject we will explore in depth later on. But in this case, the company is using the program for other reasons. Here's CEO Bernard Acoca.
So right now, we're actually leveraging a company called Berry AI. And through camera technology and the use of AI to analyze the data that's coming through those cameras, we're able to pinpoint location by location where bottlenecks in the end-to-end drive-thru experience occurs, so that our teams can then figure out how to best address where those bottlenecks are occurring and quite honestly, put corrective action towards fixing it. And so that's one way that today that the system is applying and leveraging AI technology to improve throughput. Another area where we're making an investment, we're currently in the process of testing this in all our company restaurants. We're about 85% franchise, 15% company owned. And our company, and we hope to actually exit this test successfully, which it looks like we will, to roll this out to the rest of the system. But we are now in the process of implementing digital menu boards in our drive-thrus, powered by AI, which will enable us to do things like voice prompts, voice ordering, things like day parting, things like localizing menus so that particular products that may be more popular in one locale can be served up more often, things like upselling, you name it. Naturally, order confirmation boards to help improve order accuracy come part and parcel with all of that. But we see AI in the drive-thru as being another way to unlock throughput and capacity while simultaneously enhancing the guest experience.
Mm-hmm. Have you done anything to increase like labor inside the stores or anything like that during peak hours? Anything along those lines? That usually helps with speed.
We've had to, as part of the overall digital experience, we've had to deploy a little bit more labor here and there depending on the channel that we're looking at. So I'll give you an example. One of the things that we didn't really have rolled out, on a wide scale basis when I joined was curbside pickup. Curbside pickup is an option that you can choose when engaging with our digital app. In situations like that, more labor was required. Another example in the drive-thru, naturally during peak hours, when you're putting someone out there with an order-taking tablet in the drive-thru, in order to expedite throughput and take payment in the drive-thru, naturally a little bit more labor during peak hours is required there. But the great news about all those things is that the return on investment for that labor is there.
Of course, AI doesn't just help with management. A lot of companies have integrated AI into their marketing efforts. Yum Brands, for instance, has launched Bite by Yum, a suite of in-house technology that it offers its brands Taco Bell, KFC, Pizza Hut, and Habit. Last year, among many other things, the company launched personalized marketing campaigns using customer data in the brand's digital ecosystems. And then there are simpler ways in which brands use AI in marketing. Jack in the Box used AI to create a game in its mobile app for loyalty members.
Yeah, I mean, there's many different ways we're using it, with our data, with, we're testing drive-through AI like everybody else. But one of our latest kind of uses of it is we actually created a online app, basically experience on our app called Deal Quest for Halloween. And it's amazing using OpenAI interaction with the guests. It's just a different way to drive excitement and engagement with our loyalty members.
How does it work?
Yeah, so basically, as you get in, you get on the app, and it basically kind of like create your own journey. The games we used to have back in the day when you would create your own journey, but this uses OpenAI. So as you engage and it asks questions, it asks you to answer various questions. It says, what do you want to do to defeat the monster munchie meal, which is our core item that we're offering. It changes your path, and it changes the journey based on your answers, depending on what you ask it to do, how you say you're going to defeat. It integrates some games in there as well. And then it offers up various offers and discounts as you progress through the game.
And what kind of results have you gotten from it so far?
Pretty good. Pretty good results. Actually, it's always when you do these things, you're like, are they going to use them? We're getting about 7-minute to 8-minute long engagements with our guests on our app. And we're seeing about a 5% plus redemption of the apps of the people that are playing it. And, we have a couple 100,000 people that have played it so far. It's really great. And it's just a different way to drive that engagement with the guests. Traditionally, a lot of the brands just give discounts, offers, and loyalty offers out there. We wanted to have that little two-way engagement, a little more fun. And the guests are really responding to that. And it's just a different way for us to create some new news around value. And we know how important value is today.
Right. Yeah. And it seems like, that's something that, we're seeing more brands do these days, whereas to get people not just to go onto the app, but to stick around for a bit and maybe give customers something a little bit more than just, picking a discount or anything like that, but, giving them something to actually engage with the app and with the brand.
Yeah. And it was a perfect fit for us. We have a long history in gaming. We were one of the first brands to sponsor a gaming team. And then we created, Gamer Jack. He has his own Twitch stream. And then most recently we did with T-Pain. We did some gaming with him in one of our sponsors. We kind of evolved how we kind of authentically participate in gaming. We thought this was a unique way to do that as well, because it is kind of that game experience. It kind of reminds me back of the 80s and 90s, little games. There's like Fruit Ninja, our version of it on there. And, you're building a sandwich in there, and then you're also trying to dodge and throw things at the Monster Munchie Meal. So kind of that throwback like 8-bit game kind of solution in there. It's kind of fun, and it just ties really nicely with our brand. And you can play it every week, every day. It's really fun.
Of course, there are questions about whether these programs do what's promised. In theory, AI should help restaurants operate with fewer people and enable managers to serve customers, but it's not yet clear whether that's truly possible. Restaurants are a complicated business, and it's not that easy to replace the act of cooking and serving burgers or tacos or chicken fingers to customers using robots. We'll explore many of these issues in the coming weeks as we continue our series on the impact of AI in restaurants. Coming up next week, we look at the use of voice-activated AI in drive-thrus. And that should do it for this special episode of A Deeper Dive, which was edited, as always, by Spoons. Contributing to this podcast series has been Restaurant Business Senior Tech Editor Joe Guskowski and Senior Menu Editor Pat Kobe. Kimberly Pelican helped with the artwork. You can find this and other episodes of A Deeper Dive on our website at www.restaurantbusinessonline.com/article/deeper-dive. But please subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I'm Jonathan Mays, your host, podcast producer, and the editor-in-chief of Restaurant Business. Thank you for listening.